G'day, it's your old mate Matthew here. Welcome to the Yarnsman podcast. Today we have Gareth Mitchell on the podcast. We get into a few things on colonoscopies, hypnotherapy and purpose. If you find any of that triggering, please do feel free to check our website for support resources. Now, I found this yarn really interesting because it's a classic Kiwi guy, really white-knuckling, as Gareth called it, through his mental health until leaving a job and needing to do something about it. He was anti getting support or meds until a coach suggested it was a good idea, and as part of his searching for purpose. The other thing that I found really interesting is I'm talking about hypnotherapy, as it is one of the only therapies that I haven't tried, and sounds like it was really useful for Gareth among the other things he tried. I hope you enjoy the yarn. Hello and welcome to the Yarnsman podcast, a special episode coming from West Melton this evening. We've got Gareth Mitchell here with us. Well, I'm actually in Gareth's house. Gareth is a father, a husband, and a Yarnsman supporter. How you going, Gareth?
Yeah, pretty good today. Good day.
Good. What have you struggled with in the last week?
Great question. I recently on Friday had my first colonoscopy, which had concerned me for a few weeks actually prior to that, just going through a few health tests and checks that showed there was a few odd things going on. So I had a colonoscopy on Friday, which went swimmingly, but a wee bit concerned up until that point in time.
Was it the physical act of actually getting the colonoscopy, or was it the drugs, or was it the concerns around what they might find?
It was...
or a combination?
It was a combination. There was a little bit of concern around the drugs, not so much of receiving the drugs, but more about what I might say to someone while under the influence, which is never a good thing. But mostly about the outcome and understanding what's been going on, which in the end was fine. And probably the last 6 weeks I've been worried about worst case because of my tendencies to do that over the last 46 years, to get into a place where you start worrying about worst case scenario as opposed to what's most likely to be the case. But anyway, it was clear.
Well, that's
and fine.
Well, that's all really positive. I mean, I'm going to go back to the sort of recovery nurse sitting with you. Wouldn't that be? They must have some great stories of the shit people say.
Yeah, and there's so many of them in the room. And you could tell they're all pretty happy people, and you could tell they've already had some stories that day.
Yeah.
I don't recall saying anything silly, but they do tell you beforehand, even if you say something silly, you probably won't remember.
Yeah, the last couple of times that I've had that, I just come out apologising profusely to the nurse, knowing I would have definitely said something weird.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I definitely think the doctor was happy for the procedure to be finished because I talked to him the entire time. Right. He was doing what he was doing.
Well, that'd be an interesting yarn. Looking ahead to next week, what's something you want to work on?
So it's a good question, and I'll preface it by saying the last 5 months I've been working for myself for the first time in life, after leaving a job I've been in for a few years. And so I've spent the last 5 months working with a few clients and really working like full-time, more than full-time, with them, sometimes day and night. And so what I'm looking forward to the next week is actually working on my own business, which is something I haven't really done since August when I left my previous position. So I'm looking forward to actually spending some time towards the end of the week just focused on what 2025 looks like and what I need to do and who do I need to talk to. And I'm going to be in Auckland on Thursday and Friday, so catching up with some people that I haven't seen for a while just to start working on me and my own business.
How do you flick between the mindsets?
I don't, and that's a problem I have. I've found that I end up feeling like I'm just working for these clients like I'm an employee, until you get that stark moment where you realise these guys are talking to me like I'm an outsider, which I am. So you kind of get forced into switching between the two. But I really haven't given myself time since August to think about me and my business being something that I have control over. And having been an employee for 23 years, it's interesting to suddenly go, well, I'm the boss, and what am I going to do about it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, but it's quite liberating. The thing is you can do whatever you want, and making sure that you give yourself time to change between different modes of thinking and things like that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I've got an amazing business coach, and I caught up with him last week, and he said, think about it like you're paying yourself to work on your business, and you can do whatever you like. And just thinking about the fact that I'm paying myself to do the right thing versus someone else paying me to do something I don't want to do at times is quite liberating, like you say.
Yeah, 100%. What are you proud of?
You gave me these questions before today, and I thought about that one a lot.
Sorry, you should know these questions off the top of your head now.
Oh, I do. Yeah, that's right. I do, but I had to think about this one a lot. And I think the thing that keeps coming to mind in terms of pride in the last couple of months is my kids. So I've got two boys. One's just turned 11 and one's 13, heading to high school. And the thing that I've realised over the last 6 weeks, being Christmas and New Year and lots of travel, is just how responsible they are compared to other kids. And for my friends who may listen, I'm not talking about your kids. I am talking about your kids. They're responsible. They go out of their way to try and help. They're polite the majority of the time, and they're actually pretty good kids. And it's amazing considering their parents. Yeah.
What gives you hope?
This is another one that I struggle with at times because historically I don't really think about what gives me hope. But the thing that gives me hope at the moment is the amount of good people that I'm working around, whether it's at work or friends or yourself, and what you're trying to do, and other people that I'm dealing with. The good people that are around are good people, and there's more of them than you realise. And it's very easy to get wound up in social media and news and everything that's going on in the world and think that there's more horrible people out there than good people. But generally, most people are good people with good hearts and good spirit, and you might not agree with them at times, but that's okay, and we can have good conversations, which is important. So what gives me hope is that there's more good people out there than horrible people, and despite the news, they'll do their best to help you when you help them.
Like that.
Yeah.
Diving in to your journey more.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
I share as much as I can about my mental health journey because I feel like it helps people understand that sometimes there's people that you meet that are high-functioning people with mental health issues. And I've struggled with anxiety all my life. I'm not sure where it started exactly, but definitely throughout my working life have always struggled with anxiety to a pretty high level. And I think I've only really managed to grasp it and get hold of it and control it in the last 6 or 7 years. I've had a few moments in my life where I've seen the dark dogs turned up and sent me down a pretty dark rabbit hole. One of those times was 2018-ish was the last time I left a job that I loved, and I did it from a point of view that I thought that the people running the business were making the wrong decisions, and it was more of a moralistic, ethical reason for leaving, and I regretted it the minute I left, and I've regretted it ever since. And it sent me into a bit of a dark spiral of regret, and then I went into a new role which should have been awesome, was awesome, great business, great people, lots of good things to like about the role, but it wasn't right for me, and that made it worse. And I was in a pretty dark place. If you talk to my wife, who you met tonight, she'd tell you that I wasn't a nice person to be around. I wasn't being a good father. I wasn't being a good husband. Probably wasn't being a good friend, if I'm honest. And it took me a while to work out that I needed to do something about it. And that's when I met my business coach who I mentioned earlier, Johnny Squire, based here in Christchurch. Awesome dude. Like, shouldn't really call him a business coach. He's a life coach. And he helped me understand that it's okay if I'm not the right fit for what's supposed to be the right role. And he helped me understand that I'd spent most of my working career, which most people do, listening to what other people think you should do. You should go over here. You'll earn more money if you do this thing. But what if you hate it? What if you hate doing that thing? Is the money worth it for doing that horrible job for the next 2 years, only to then get another new horrible job that you don't like doing, even though it might be a great business, you might not like the job. So that was a pretty tough point in the life, and probably the point at which I actually started taking my mental health seriously instead of white knuckling it, which I'd done for, 20 years and not really getting anywhere. I studied psychology at university, so you'd think I would have had the heads up that you can do stuff about it. But
well, don't buy a car from a mechanic. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, kind of rewinding back, you said you left this role. Were, on reflection and hindsight, do you think that anxiety played a role in your kind of decision making around that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was heightened significantly. And one of the questions that I had at the time, which was why I engaged Johnny, was I didn't really understand what my purpose was for being on the planet. And I was really uncertain about what my purpose was for being in a job, being in a role. Like, I've always needed something to grasp onto that is the reason for me being in this job. And my career had always been a huge part of my personality, still is. But Johnny helped me understand how to go through the process of understanding what my purpose in life is, which was the biggest revelation. I remember the day that we had the session where I was like, that's it. That's what it is. And we had tears in my eyes, and he was like, yeah, this is great. And I'm like, it was one of those moments where you go, actually, I think this might be a point in life where you look back and go, that was when things changed a bit.
What is your purpose in life, if you want to answer that?
Yep, it's to be fast, know my own true north, and help others light their way.
I like that.
There you go.
That's nice, clear and...
And each of those, there's 3 components to that purpose, and each of them has a different meaning to me. So be fast, don't go fast means slow down. Don't burn out and then not be able to help your wife and your kids and your family because you're burnt out from the job that you're doing. The second part is know my own true north, which is stop giving a fuck about what other people think you should do and actually do what you want to do, whether that's be in a job or run your own business or help this person or don't help this person, whatever it is that you want to do. And then help other people light their way. That's my true purpose, I think, in my career, is to help people change, transform, pull businesses out of plug holes, which I've had to do a couple of times, or working with a couple of clients now that are going through quite large transformations that have been forced upon them because of change in industry and economics. And so my purpose is to help them work out where they're heading, and once they've got the pathway lit, then I can skulk off into the shadows and never be seen again, which is what I quite like to do.
I really like this, and I want to dive back into more around the anxiety, but there's a lot of people around that don't know what their purpose in life is, whether they've had a change in life or change in identity and things.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for someone trying to discover that and to be able to distill it in a clear and concise way like you have, other than getting Johnny, was it Johnny Squire?
Johnny, yeah.
Or any other
hate
one.
that I mentioned his name, by the way.
We could put a link to him.
Suck it up, Johnny.
What advice would you have to get to that point?
Yeah, it's probably not one piece of advice. It's probably a multitude of things. The one thing Johnny made me do was distill down the things that matter to me in life, not career-wise or not in any specific aspect of life, just what is important. And for me, what was important was my career is important, like what I do is important, as long as it's what I want to do. My family and my kids are the most important thing to me. My friends are probably a pretty close second. And I want to help them, I want to help my friends, and I have always wanted to help whoever it is that I'm working for or working with, progress and be better. So working out what matters and then not giving a damn about the rest So start with what's close to life, what's close to you, and then there'll be peripheral stuff that you do, like I like to spend an hour on TikTok a day. Well, is that helping you? Maybe get off the TikTok, maybe get off the socials, unless that's your purpose in life is to be on the socials, but it's probably not. And then distill it down to the things that matter, and then strip away the things that don't. But be brutally honest. It can be hard. I mean, there's a book called Leading with Purpose by Nick Craig, I think his name is. You'll fact check that.
Well, yeah, we might put a link in.
Yeah. And the book's really interesting because it goes through, lots of different stories about people finding their purpose in life and being able to distill it down to a one-liner. And in the middle of the book, there's like all these, there's a big questionnaire asking a whole bunch of questions. And I'd read that book, 10 times and got to the middle, and then I couldn't get past it. And I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with me. I'm not going to be able to work this out. Maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. But Johnny, starting with that, and distilling it down into what is critically important to me, and what's important for my health, mental, physical, intellectual health, distilling that down into the component parts, and then just let it sit and simmer. I mean, it took weeks for us to, time and time again, go back to it and slowly work out. The Be Fast was the first piece that came up because I was burnt out. I was probably not in the best mental state because of the amount of work that I'd been doing and probably not prioritising family and Gareth over work.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first piece, and then the next piece came from getting an understanding that I've been listening to other people tell me what I should do in my career for decades, rather than go, what do I want to do? Like what gives me joy and purpose in my career, and then following that. And the last one was just like everything that I wrote down in terms of things that are important to me was helping other people. So helping my wife, my kids, my family, friends, and myself, which was something that I hadn't understood I needed to do, and then bringing that together. So I think the key thing is to talk to people about what's important to you and use them as a sounding board to ask questions and dig deeper on certain things, and you'll suddenly go, yeah, that's it.
Well, almost ask that as to your family, friends, ask them the question about yourself. It might be a good way to
absolutely
something first.
100%.
This sounds like a really interesting and important stage in your self-discovery and journey. I don't want to say self-healing, but it is partly healing, but we're on a journey. What other things did you do? So you're out of this role. You
Yep.
have a dark moment.
Yep.
What's the first thing you do?
Well, for 20-something years, having trained as a psychologist for 20 years, I was determined I was never going to take medication for my mental health. And funny enough, Johnny and my doctor both had the same response to me about, no, I'm not going to take anything for this anxiety and other things. And their response was, if you break your arm, you put a cast on it. If you got a gash in your knee, you'd put a bandage on it. But you're unwilling to put a bandage on your mental health. So I caved in and said, yep, let's give it a go. And that made a big difference. And for some people it doesn't, but for me it made a huge difference with the anxiety at 100%. I always thought meditation was some hippie bullshit that crazy people in the hills did. But I took up meditation, and to this day I meditate every day. Well, I shouldn't say every day. Most days. You can't do it every day, but...
What sort of meditation do you do?
I do 10 to 15 minutes of guided meditation. So just there's a few apps out there, Headspace and a few others.
I feel like I've clocked Headspace and
need
to do it again.
Yeah. In actual fact, if you go on YouTube and look up 10 or 15 or however many minutes guided meditation, there's so many people have got guided meditation on YouTube. So it's a free platform, and go and get as much as you like. So I just look up that. Helps me slow down the brain, stop the overthinking that I do all the time and worrying. If you talk to my wife, again, she'd say I worry so much, but also I understand that my mother is a significant worrier about everything, particularly about her kids and her family, and so I've got that gene. I don't know where it came from. I'm pretty sure it was from her. What else did I do? I learned how to hypnotise myself.
That's interesting.
So I went.
Well, I don't know why I've got a mental picture that I shouldn't have, but tell me.
I don't end up going around the house clucking like a chicken. No, I went and saw a hypnotist. You know, I'd always heard people going to hypnotists to stop smoking or to sleep better and so on. And again, like the meditation, I thought, seems a bit left field for me. I'm a bit more straight up the middle. But I went and saw this amazing hypnotherapist in Christchurch. If I could remember her name, Sarah is her name. Don't know her last name, but she taught me how to be hypnotised, which is, I realise now, is just a really deep form of meditation. But she also taught me how to hypnotise myself, and I've got a few recordings that I listen to that help me put myself under. It takes about 20-30 minutes. And the crazy thing was in one of the sessions, she, because you're visualising in your head things that can help you, and so one was a room with all these dials, and one was a dial for anxiety. And I remember on the day that she was teaching me, she said, look, before we turn it down, just to show you that it works, let's turn it up. And so I turned this anxiety dial up, and while I'm being hypnotised, and I had a panic attack while sitting in the chair, like heart was racing, sweating. And she's like, no, turn it down, and back down. And then I turned it right down, and there was a lock on it, and so I locked it, finished the session, you come out of the hypnosis, and you're like, okay, that was cool. And I'd never felt that calm and collected in 20 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I want to know more around how you got into that and how you got comfortable with that.
So,
because that must have been, well, I'm just going to throw it out, that must have been a long lead time from you should go and do this to, all right, I'm actually going to work up to do it.
Yes, I think it was all at once. So I started the medication for the anxiety at the same time as I went to see the hypnotherapist. At the same time that I started doing meditation. It was kind of a whole bunch of stuff. And I think I was probably at the end of my tether in terms of, like, I've got to fucking do something about this. Otherwise, it's going to consume me. And so rather than do one thing, I did a whole bunch of things. The hypnosis suggestion was my wife's. She said, why don't you try hypnosis? I think she may have done some hypnosis before. Can't recall. But anyway, it was her suggestion, so I did a bit of research and I found the most sane-looking hypnotherapist I could find on the internet. And I gave her a call, and she was pretty cool. So okay, we'll give it a go. 3 sessions, and then you can call it a day, or you can carry on. And look, I didn't think it was going to be what it was. I thought, it won't work. I've been to these, go to a hypnotist in an auditorium at a university and wait to be hypnotised and find that you can't be hypnotised. And some people can't be hypnotised for some reason, but it worked a treat, and still listen to it on a regular basis and hypnotise myself. I don't do it as often as the meditation, but I do it regularly. It's kind of like a reset, and then it sits and it's good, and then you do it again. Yeah.
I'm very interested in that. Might have to go and try it myself. It's probably only one of the things I haven't tried. Would you have any advice for anyone looking to try that?
Just give it a go. It's harmless, right? It's no different to meditation. It's not like you are unconscious. Like, you're fully coherent. You're sitting or lying with a person talking to you and taking you through the throes of essentially getting into a deep meditative state, and then they give suggestions in terms of what you should visualize, and that helps just get you into a different state of mind. And I found it really reduces the inner dialogue, which everyone needs some inner dialogue, but not so monotonous that it's on all the time. Yeah. Oh, there was other things I did. One thing that Johnny taught me was a concept, and he called it the Miranda rights, and I've called it the Miranda rights in every engagement where I've spoken to people or run some leadership training in jobs that I've had and talked about it. But the Miranda rights, you've probably had them read to you at some stage.
I don't know if they call them that in New Zealand.
No, they don't. I think it's an American thing.
So no, I haven't been arrested in America.
No, the right to remain silent, a right to an attorney, and all that. The reason I call them my Miranda rights, and it was Johnny's concept, was these are the things I have to do at least every second day, every day, which is meditate, work out, exercise, eat well, read, spend time with my family, apply certain principles at work. There's a thing called getting things done, which is a way of managing tasks and getting shit done at work. Meditate, do the hypnosis on a regular basis, and there's a few other things, but these are the things that, if you think about a pendulum swinging in your mental health, my pendulum used to swing like rapidly and viciously out like a long way, and it would take a while for the pendulum to get back to center again. With my Miranda rights, the pendulum still swings, but it's not as severe, and I know exactly what I need to do to bring it back to center. And that's helped me reduce the inner dialogue, and what inner dialogue I do have is much more positive. Journaling is another thing, so journal every day. Focus on what I'm grateful for and what's good, and if there is anything that's bugging me and is stuck in my head, causing me anxiousness, then write that down and actually get out the problem. Yeah.
Do you find? I mean, you're doing a lot of things.
I am doing a lot of things. It seems like a lot, but when there's only journal takes 5-10 minutes. Meditation, you meditate for 3 minutes. It does the job. And the other things are generally things that you just you're in a routine during the day. But I know when I don't do it. Like if I don't do it for a week, man, the inner dialogue starts up, and all of a sudden I'm worrying about everything. He said that. I wonder what that means. I wonder if they're disappointed in this thing. Maybe I should go and do this. And oh my God, what if it's an absolute catastrophe? And I'm like, I need to start. I haven't journaled for 5 days. Maybe I should write this down.
I mean, that's really good self-awareness to have, and I guess you get that through going through the process. But there's a lot of discipline in there too, right? Yeah.
Actually, discipline is a word written in my Miranda rights, which is the discipline to do all that, and the discipline to know that if you don't do it, it's okay. Like give yourself a break, but get back to it. Yeah. Don't beat yourself up about it.
Let's take a step into the kind of work or awareness you're doing with Purposeful Humans. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
So it was a bit of a side project that I started sort of middle of last year, and to be fair, it's been on hiatus for about 6 or 8 weeks through the Christmas New Year break. One of the things that I felt I needed to do was to give people help. My purpose in life is to help as many people as I can, right? And when you're in one job, you're helping one company. Now I'm working for myself, I'm helping more than one company, so that's good. But I know that from had this similar conversation about what I do to manage my mental health, that it's helpful for people. And I went down a rabbit hole in 2018 that I'm still down around mental health, how to help yourself, like meditation. I'm deep into modern Stoicism and the theories and dreams of Marcus Aurelius and Seneca and Cleanthes and how in 2,000, 3,000 years what it means to be a good human being hasn't changed. And so the purpose of Purposeful Humans is to help people understand how to deal with negative people, how to find purpose in life, how to drill into the things that maybe are, earworms that are getting inside your head to get that inner dialogue out. And I want to help as many people as I can. It hasn't been a super successful start. It's been okay. But I've probably had, 100, 200 views per video for some of them, some much less.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Well, what I've found is that I've come across some people at speaking engagements or other things that have listened and got something golden out of it and gone, I used that thing that you talked about, and that helped me deal with this issue over here. I had one lady who said, look, I've recently quit my job. And I was like, oh, no, why did you do that? Well, I listened to your Purpose for Humans and decided I needed to do something different. For a moment, I felt horrible that she'd quit her job, but actually she seemed like she was in a really good space and really happy that she'd made a decision to adjust and change. So, yeah, that's the intent. It's kind of like what I intend to do in my job and what I intend to do in life is to help people. So I thought I'll give this YouTube malarkey a go.
Where can people find you in it and the Purposeful Humans?
So you can find Purposeful Humans on YouTube, just at Purposeful Humans, all one word. You can email me, purposefulhumans@gmail.com, or just reach out on anything, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. The Purposeful Human videos are on LinkedIn as well as YouTube. I tried TikTok and what was that? And Twitter, but no good. No.
You got to find your place.
Yeah.
Mate, thank you so much for the yarn. You've given me the idea that I think I almost need to go and interview or experience all the different therapy types and things for different episodes. So
maybe you should. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do. I don't know how people would feel about me doing psychedelic therapy again. Anyway, rambling. But thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome, mate.
Really interesting. Trying all the different things and finding your purpose, which is all really important stuff. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.